Alright, hopefully this will record since I'm having some technology issues. But this is my video post for the Focus on Teachers vlog. Um, for this post, I interviewed Miss Lorax about her thoughts on education. She had some really great advice and words of wisdom that I'll try to remember as I work through my internship and when I have my own classroom. Alright, so the first question was, what are some suggestions for planning activities and lessons for your class? And she said that you should find someone else who already teaches the same subject as you and try and collaborate with them. This is really important. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and together you can overcome yours and theirs. Otherwise, teaching can become really insular. Collaborating can allow you to work through problems you may have been having that are harder to reflect on when you're on your own. If there isn't anyone else teaching your subject, you have to go through intense self-reflection and be really honest with yourself when you're looking through your activities. What worked, what didn't work, what can you tweak, and what should you just cut out that really just didn't work for your class. The second question was, how have national and state standards impacted the way that you teach? And she said that the national and state standards have provided a general course outline that she bases her curriculum on, and they provide general materials that they need to cover. The next question is, what are the major stresses and strains of teaching? And she said for her classroom, the lack of technology, lack of support for a full inclusion classroom, numerous meetings, sometimes last minute, sometimes first thing in the morning, sometimes both, parent demands, and students who aren't prepared because of all of the above. Next question was, what are your behavior management and discipline strategies for your classroom? And she said, making sure you're consistent and setting expectations early on is very important. With older students, you have to temper a lot of stuff with humor. Not so much that they don't take you seriously, but it can be more helpful than just getting aggravated because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Some of it is definitely based on how you grade. She said you can get more respect if you grade harder because your students know that you're going to mess around in class and you're going to have fun, but they know, to use her words, they know that you're a hard ass and they can't get around you, and they know that when you say, okay, it's time to work now, that you mean it. Next question was, how do you handle angry and overbearing parents? Her situation is a little bit different than most teachers at our school. Her husband is the department head in one of the larger engineering departments, which is very big at our school. So a lot of the parents that are faculty members who have pulled the I'm a faculty member card on some of the other teachers realize that they can't do that to her because they know her husband, they know he's very important within his college as well as the university, and so they know that she won't really accept that, and her personality also is not the type of person that would accept someone doing that to her. So she said because of this, her experience has been a lot different than some other people's experiences. That being said, she also makes sure, or she says that she makes sure that to hold her ground with parents, and but also try to work with them. She doesn't want to have any confrontations, and she really does want what's best with the student, for the student, and so do their parents, hopefully. And she tries to make it known that they're really on the same side and she's not against their kids. And because she's a parent, she understands what a lot of these parents are going through. So she really tries to work with them to make sure that they're coming up with something that is helpful for the student, even if the parents don't necessarily like it. And she said that the number one thing is don't try and make parents mad, because they're going to aggravate you and they're going to make you mad. But if you're just trying to aggravate them back, that's not going to end well for anyone, especially the student. What are some requirements and expectations for young teachers? She said that one of, if not the most important thing for a young teacher to watch out for is that they aren't trying to become friends with their students. This is really important, but it's also really hard because when you come right out of college, you're usually not that much older than your students are. Um, Obviously, this isn't really true if you're a middle school teacher, but she started off teaching high school, so she was only like 4 years older than her students. So she says that it's really important, but also somewhat difficult to maintain a professional relationship with your students. So they realize that you're not friends. Like, you can talk and you can joke and you can have fun, but you're not friends. And at the end of the day, you are their teacher. And it's really important that you keep this professional relationship because it can get really confusing for your students if you don't. And the last question that I asked was, what is life like outside the classroom for a teacher? And she said usually it's very pleasant. Students come up and say hi, and because we live in such a small town, she runs into them fairly often. She's never had a bad experience with students outside of the classroom, but she said that she has had several students that are very surprised that she's not in her classroom at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. Um, and a couple of them kind of thought, I guess, that she lived in her classroom. So she said that that's kind of funny to see. But otherwise, it's very pleasant outside of the classroom. It was a very good interview, and hopefully this actually recorded, unlike the last time I did it.